So living on the road has its advantages and its disadvantages. And one of the biggest disadvantages is getting mail, getting packages, especially when it comes to Jeep parts. Now, I'd like to tell you that I figured it out completely, but it's still a work in progress. However, I was able to get these packages sent to me from Quadratec so I can make a few upgrades to the Gladiators. Now, Quadratec has been a long-standing sponsor here with me at Driving Everest, and they've been absolutely fantastic about working with me and getting packages sent to me while I'm on the road. The tricky part is most of the campgrounds that we stay at, they don't allow packages unless they're medication or RV parts. And unfortunately, Jeep parts don't fall into either one of those categories, so it has been a bit tricky. Now, most post offices, they'll accept packages on your behalf via general delivery. However, FedEx and UPS aren't their preferred delivery of choice. So these packages that were shipped from FedEx actually went to a FedEx distribution center near where we're staying in Portland, and I was able to pick them up from there. But enough about that. Let me talk to you about what we've got going on today here at a campground install. Now, if you've been following along on Instagram, where I post regular updates and everything, you know that Firefly, Vanessa's Gladiator, is having some steering issues and needs a new drag link and new tie rod, everything like that. But that's a bit more than I can install at a campground. So we're gonna save those mods for a local 4x4 shop. And today we're gonna tackle a few simple ones that I can do right here. One of them is going to be a hood strut kit. So that's going to allow me to have an automatic assisted opening hood that's going to hold it up without having to drop that bar in place. I've already got one set up on Firefly, had a little bit of envy on how nice it was, so I'm going to put one of those on Everest as well. Another super simple but helpful mod is going to be a bike carrier. So Aiden and I picked up a couple of mountain bikes while we've been on the road. They're great for getting around the campground as well as exploring local spots, but I kind of need a good way to carry them, and Quadratec makes a 4-bike carrier that's going to go right into the receiver. So that's the big package. Now, I've been running stubby antennas on both Everest and Firefly for a long time now, and one of the disadvantages is they're absolutely garbage at getting any type of signal. I like the low profile look. I like how it's out of the way. However, you can't even pick up a local station for traffic alerts or FM or anything along those lines. TACTIK, one of the Quadratec lines, has a new series of stubby antennas out in some different sizes, and we're gonna replace both Everest and Firefly with those. Last but not least is this. This is a pad for the Quadratec Dead Pedal. I did a video on the Dead Pedal install ages ago on this channel when I put in Everest, and at that time I never got the pad and I didn't think anything of it. But after we installed the Dead Pedal, the same one in Firefly with the pad, it's just so much more comfortable. So they sent me one, and we're going to be adding that to Everest as well, so then we'll have them in both Jeeps. So not only is it difficult to receive mail on the road, but it kind of sucks not having a garage and a place to work on the vehicle. So I've got to make do at the campgrounds, but fortunately I keep a set of tools in my deck toolbox that allow me to do pretty much all the basics on both Jeeps. Now, one of the things that I noticed about the bicycle carrier is that it actually threads in, which is pretty great because a lot of these actually just have the pin that slides in. And the advantage to having something that bolts in is it's going to be more secure, and it's going to be a little less likely that someone is going to be able to just take it off, take your carrier, take your bikes. So a little extra security on the road is always a good thing. So this piece is actually threaded, and it looks like it's going to use, I'm going to say it's a 19. Yeah, it's a 19. So 19 millimeter socket, which is fortunately the largest one that I carry in my socket set. And we're just going to tighten that down a little bit. Very, very little play. And if you want to, you could always shim that a little bit with some rubber or something like that, but I don't think it's going to be an issue, especially when we have the weight of the rest of the rack on there, as well as the bikes. All right, I was wrong. Tighten it down and it doesn't move at all. So one of the things that Quadratec is known for are their full color instruction manuals. Now, do we need an instruction manual to install a bike rack? Probably not. Is it always great to have a reference guide? Absolutely. So take a quick look. And yeah, it's as straightforward as I thought it was. Oh, look at this. They actually include a set of wrenches if you don't have a socket set like I do. It's little details. It's all about the details. So one of the cool things about this rack is it's actually able to fold up like you see it right now, but it's also able to swing back, which is going to allow me to access my tailgate and my toolboxes while it's attached. And that's huge because I don't want to have to take this on and off unless I'm doing some off-roading or something else where I don't want to have that on the back and I need the extra clearance. So it's going to use the same 19 millimeter socket, and we're going to need a wrench to tighten it down. Now, if I did this right, all I should have to do is pop this top pin, lower that down. That's attached, which is great. And we've got clearance to get in the bed, to get in the toolboxes. Nothing is in the way. Absolutely love that. Comes with a set of these rubber straps, and that's what's going to allow us to fasten the bikes down and hold them securely in place. So I'll just slide right on, and then I'll be able to tension them accordingly. So because I've only got 2 bikes at the time, I'm not going to put the straps on all 4 of them. I'm going to take the extras, stash them in the toolbox. I've went ahead and flipped these down, and it comes with an included Allen wrench, so you can actually tighten these in place so you're not able to just spin them with your hand or with the bike. All right, everything looks good. Let's do a test fit. Super snug, I like it. And one of the cool things is there's enough space for me to walk back here, which is important so I can still access the fridge and my Dr. Pepper stash that I keep in the back of the truck. Another little detail that I want to call out are the reflectors right here on the ends of the rack. It's a little touch and you don't see that on pretty much any other rack that I've seen on the road. I see quite a few bouncing from campground to campground. Also are these safety straps. So these actually attach to the post down low and they help secure your tires because you can see the front tire is just going to swing freely. So this will actually secure that and prevent that from moving. One other little detail is this pin right here. So you just tighten this and this puts pressure on the pole here, and that way you don't have any movement or any rattle. It looks great. It's super stable. There's no rattle to it at all. This will be plenty big enough to hold both of mine and Aiden's bikes. And of course, we've even got room for Vanessa's bike if she decides that she wants to get one so she can join us on our bike rides. Definitely use those straps when you're driving. So, I don't remember exactly how to remove this antenna. I want to say that there's like an anti-theft thread in there somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the base, and fortunately, I have a complete Allen key set because I don't remember what size it takes. So there doesn't appear to be anything too special about it, and since I'm not planning on keeping this, I'm just going to toss it out. I'm going to go ahead and use some pliers against it. This is metal, so I am going to scratch it up, but like I said, I'm going to be tossing this out afterwards. So we've got a couple of different sizes to choose from. We have the 15-inch stubby. We have the 9-inch stubby. And we have the 6-inch stubby. Now, typically I like to go with the smaller, lower profile ones, but I think because I'm running the Bulbar Midland antenna on the front, that the 15-inch isn't gonna look that bad on the Jeep, and it's probably gonna give me the best reception, which means Vanessa's got to pick between the 9-inch or the 6-inch. So let's go ahead, throw the 15 on there and see how it looks. It's got some flex to it, so if it hits something, it's not going to break. And the wind just picked up. And we have a couple different adapters for different sizes to make sure we've got a great fit. Now, it doesn't include the base because either you've got the factory one or you have an aftermarket one like I do, and it is compatible. Now, the bright side is when I do the antenna switch on Firefly, I know that I don't need to remove the base. I can actually just remove the antenna with a little force, and that'll make it even easier. But we're just gonna put one screw in and step back, see what it looks like, and decide if we like the look, and then of course we gotta test the function. I like it. It doesn't look bad at all. It's not like it's gonna be a distraction or smacking anything like the factory one. So let's go ahead and tighten it down. Got a rare little bit of sunshine here in Washington State right now, but it's on. You probably can't even tell that much from up there, but I think it's a good match because it looks good with the Midland setup. It looks good here. I'm happy with it. Now I just got to decide which one we're going to put on Vanessa, but let me show you a comparison. Maybe I'll hold them up side by side here and you can see what they would look like. Just a reminder, this is the 15, this is the 9, and this is what the 6 is going to look like. The 6 isn't much different than the one I had on before. Okay, maybe it is. So, I don't know. I know Vanessa likes her radio, so maybe the 9-inch on hers. Let's go for it and see what she thinks. Going to need one of the adapters. Save that. It definitely tears it up, so I don't recommend using pliers unless you're tossing it out. So I think the 9-inch looks absolutely great. There's not a tremendous amount of difference if we would have went with the 6-inch antenna on hers, and for the slightly better reception that you're probably going to get from the 9 over the 6, let's go with that. But now, before we move on, let's just test and see if we're picking anything up. Now, we are in a fairly remote part of Washington State, so I don't know what's on the airwaves out here, but it's worth a shot. Now, the one thing about my Stinger head unit is I can't access any of the controls unless I'm in drive, because when I'm in park, for some reason, the rear view camera just randomly decided that's going to be the default setting one day. So put in drive, radio. I do not want AM. Let's see if we can find something. It works. So all you get's a brief sample because YouTube will going to be a copyright strike for that music, but it works. And that was a lot more than I could pick up before. Like, I got nothing. But again, we're talking about like a 3-inch stubby to a 15-inch stubby. That's fantastic. We'll test finesses out later, but right now, let's do the dead pedal. Super easy. Need something. This isn't really an installation or anything that I'm going to go into detail about, but rubbing alcohol to clean it because it uses a 3M adhesive on the back. If you want to see a more extended video of a dead pedal install, I'll drop that in the description below, where you can check out when I put it in Everest for the very first time. So there it is, dirty floorboards and all. Again, super simple. It's the little details that make life on the road and all the miles that we log that much more bearable. All right, well, that's gonna bring us to the last campground installation for the day. That's gonna be the hood struts. So we'll grab all the pieces that we need, pop the hood. I am going to take a look at the instructions though, because it's been a minute since I installed the ones on Vanessa and I just want a quick refresher. Let's get going. So the prop, I think we can all agree, is super annoying, especially when you have to get under here and do wiring projects and oil changes and all the other things that I'm doing what feels like on a regular basis. So this is going to be a game changer. Subtle, but a game changer. And just to show you what we're going for, take a look at Vanessa's. So again, already got these struts installed on Firefly. They're absolutely fantastic. Open, close, nice and easy. Time to do it to Everest. So we'll start over here on the driver's side, and again, just getting a quick refresher on what I need to do here. All right, let's grab some tools. This is where a good socket set comes in handy. If I could only bring one or two things on the road, this would definitely be one of them. It has also dawned on me that I can always open up Vanessa's for a frame of reference. Just in case I want to double check anything. But first of all, 10 mil, actually probably don't need the extension. It's going to get in the way. And it's going to mount right up here. Paint was stuck a little bit. Now I have a very obvious advantage having them already installed. So I can just take a quick glance and check the orientation, but I'm assuming that you don't. So go ahead and make sure you look at the instructions, because placement on which side for these brackets is really important. So the ball that the strut's going to attach to goes towards the front of the vehicle. And if you get that wrong, well, it's not going to work. So you're going to have two sets of bolts. You're going to have your M25, which is going to be your longer one. You're going to have two of those, and you're going to have four M15s. The M15s are going to go up here. The M25s are going to go down here. Make sure you get it right. But we're going to need a tool change. Next up, we've got our top brackets, and they're actually going to go right up here where this weather stripping is. So we're going to move that down a little bit. They do recommend you tape it out of the way. I think you can work without taping it out of the way. It's not that big of a deal. So again, you're going to use the M15 with a washer for the top bracket. Now this little tiny support bracket is threaded, which is going to make it super easy. So you don't have to worry about trying to get a nut in there or anything like that, because you are working in a pretty limited space, as you'll see here in just a second. We're just going to get that started. Again, keeping it loose, moving my 10 millimeters so I don't lose it, because God knows I've done that enough. And then essentially, this is going to go up in here. Oh. So it's a little tricky to show, but it's really clever. If you peel this back, and this is where they recommend taping it back just so it's out of your way, but you'll see you've got this channel right here. And that's where this bracket that we just attached, the larger bracket, is going to slide up in there like so. So hold that back, we'll slide that up and in, we'll slide that down so it's in place, and now we have access to the thread, which is where we're going to take another M15 and put that in there. All right, so we got both brackets in place. Now it's time to mount the strut. Large enclosed end is going to go up top. This end's going to go at the bottom. Before we do anything, we're essentially going to do a dry fit to get an idea that everything is lined up, which it looks like it is. So because we're not going to have a lot of room here in a minute, this is the point where we are going to tighten down the bottom bracket. So that's nice and snug. Everything's tight. Let's go ahead and pop the top one in place. There we go. And now the bottom. All right, so it is going to be super snug, and if you want to remove these later, you can actually take the blade of a knife, a flathead screwdriver or something, and loosen that. It'll allow you to pop them out, but we're just going to repeat the process on the other side. Well, that should do it. Don't need this anymore. You do have just enough clearance to get that out, but not much. So let's test it out. Why this is not a factory standard, I have no idea. Shame on you, Jeep. Well, that's gonna do it. Super simple, easy to do. If I can do it at a campground, I can do it on a trail, pretty much anywhere, because again, I make sure that I have a basic set of tools with me: sockets, wrenches, Allen keys, all that sort of thing. But let's just take one more look at everything that we got done this morning. So we've got a new bike rack, and this is going to be huge. We don't want to put a lot of weight on the RV by mounting them there. So having something on the back of the Gladiator that can hold up to 4 bikes is awesome. And that also means that when we leave the RV somewhere and take the Gladiators to do some overlanding, like we did in Mendocino or some of the other trails that we've hit, we'll be able to take the bikes along with us, and that's going to be a lot of fun. went ahead and swapped out the super stubby antennas with the TACTIK stubby antennas. And as you saw, we actually have reception in my Jeep for the first time in years, honestly. So that's fantastic. I haven't ran the stock pretty much since day one, but I haven't had reception. So this is a big upgrade in my book, and definitely one that you should consider if you want something a bit more low profile, as well as still rocking some reception. And while they are all super helpful additions to the build, I will say that the hood struts has got to be the most satisfying. I mean, how good is that? That's fantastic. So I'm gonna get all these tools put away. I'm gonna get the boxes taken down to the dumpsters, get those thrown out, recycled if they got it. And yeah, that's it. If you've got any small mods that you love, that you found super helpful and impactful, let me know down below in the comments. Thanks so much for tuning in. A huge thank you once again to Quadratec for being a long-standing sponsor and a great friend of mine. You can find all of these products over on their website at quadratec.com, and be sure to check it out because they run some really great sales on all of these items and more. But that's it. On to the next adventure.